getting close to a thousand gifted subs on the channel. All right, red black aristocrats. Always like to start with the magic jargon. Aristocrats, for those newer to magic or unfamiliar with the archetype, which is what we refer to decks that sacrifice their own creatures for fun and value. In this particular standard format, aristocrats decks are headlined by priests of the forgotten gods more often than not. We also have a few other things that let us sacrifice, like God-Eternal Bontu, Mask of Immolation. We have things like Mayhem Devil that give us value for sacrificing things. We have things like Chandra, Acolyte of Flame that pump out a constant flow of creatures to give us things to sacrifice. We have efficient removal here that also can be flashed back by Chandra's -2. We have a variety of cheap creatures that we can just curve out to give us some very aggressive draws. This is one of my 2 favorite aggro decks in the current format, so let's go ahead and dive on into some games here and see how they go. Akarador, thank you for the 18 months of support there. I appreciate the 1.5 years. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. You considered Crafty Cut Burst in the sideboard of Flash decks against the Field of the Dead decks. That's probably fine. We haven't played much Flash since the Scapeshift deck dropped, so I'm not really sure if that's a matchup that needs extra help or not. Also, like, the Bant Scapeshift decks, like, kind of seemed like they were a flash in the pan, like they showed up, and then my anecdotal evidence has been, like, that they haven't appeared recently, so it's a good draw. The Priest on 2, Chandra on 3 curve is just... Naya Feather is my other favorite aggro deck. Oops, my liability is showing. I thought about maybe getting rid of one of the other emotes that doesn't get used a lot and creating an NSFW emote that could be paired with an OTC emote. I think that could be amusing. All right, so I think it's just Priest again here since we drew here. I think it's just Priest. This was probably a free attack I should take. Judith has just been outclassed by the other cards that we can play Goofy Hat Matt. She's basically just has been worse than Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. We like cut down to 3, we cut down to 2, and then we eventually cut her all together to drag the curve down. The fact that things like Chandra are making more tokens too makes Judy's stock go down. No blocks. I don't know. I think, what's the word that I'm searching for? I think that, Footlight Fiend's another card that got worse when we cut, Judith. So Grim Innate making an extra body is nice. It might have been right to activate Priest last turn.
Defeating you will not bring me pleasure, nor pain.
Deal. We're gonna teach our opponent that they need to respect Priests of the Forgotten Gods here. They have a disfigure? Oh no, they just have an Adonto activation. That makes sense. Hey, what's going on, Bob? Match 1, game 1.
Great.
So, we'll deal 2 here. They'll sacrifice this, we'll make some mana. And then we'll play Dreadhorde Butcher, which will give us 5 damage to kill this. Oh, right, we're gonna get a point of damage anyways, that's sweet. That means I don't have to attack with Grim Innate here. Which means I can leave this to protect my Chandra, which is nice. Lou Mason, thank you for the 11 months of support, I appreciate that, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. And Dreadhorde Butcher was printed in the Planeswalker set. So, it gets bigger when it kills the Sorin. It's my 2nd birthday. Thank you for the 24 months of support, reprint Tibalt. Thanks for keeping me around. I feel like you get more wins with this deck than you otherwise could in some other situations, just because Priest is so good and people don't respect it. That was what you could refer to as an above average turn. Alright, so if we get to untap with this Priest, we're going to clear their board. So, Lightning Strike this. Make 2 tokens. We'll sack a token and the Dreadhorde Butcher to deal 4 to this. They'll sacrifice this. Yeah, so. Because we'll get 2 Mayhem Devil triggers, and then a Dreadhorde Butcher dies trigger. So then their board will be gone, and we'll have a bunch of cards, including a Bontu left over. Yeah, we get to play Bontu too. Yep. Alright, so on the draw, we like having a lot of removal in our deck in this matchup. I like boarding out Dreadhorde Butcher because they have a lot of things that block him, especially at the 2 mana mark. People like to refer to decks as brain dead as a way to protect their own fragile egos. So if a deck is brain dead, then it means that they weren't outsmarted and intellectually they're still superior to their opponent. Their opponent's deck was just unfair or cheap and did something that shouldn't be happening. Magic's a very intellectual game, and if you allow it, if you put too much of your self-worth into your results of your Magic games, you start doing things like that to put other people or decks down to try and salvage your own ego. They board into Vaughn in this matchup. Yeah, usually. I don't think I want Fry or Noxious Grasp. I feel like Cruelty and Lava Coil is plenty. Maybe the Mask isn't very good. Yeah, I'm going to cut the Mask and put the Noxious Grasps in. Let's do that. How do you feel about Heartfire? I think I've played with Heartfire in this deck, and I think it's worse than Lightning Strike and Shock on average. I think Lightning Strike not requiring... I feel like I'm not short for things to sacrifice things to. And Heartfire requiring a thing is awkward sometimes. I like Fry over Strike to be able to kill Champion of Dusk and Vaughn. I'd encourage you to read Fry 3125. I guess this is a pretty easy mulligan. Yeah. Yes, and as someone like people who have been around my stuff for a long time, I'm sure, or people that have watched my stuff a long time ago and haven't watched recently, I'm sure there are people out there that'll call me a hypocrite for saying what I just said, because I've definitely been on the other side of that and been a petty person who's like insulting my opponent and the decks that they're playing while they play them. And the reason why I did that is because of what I just described. I was investing far too much of my self-worth into my results in this game, and it's just not a very healthy thing to be doing. We do have borderless basics now, and they are beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, we have, the society we live in today, we live in a society where, like, cancel culture is a very real thing, right? And, like, we take people and we throw them away based on, regardless of what they've done as a person and who they've become or where they've come from, just based on, like, one little thing that they've done, right? And I'm not saying that you use that as an excuse for people who do terrible things, but you have to, like, draw a line somewhere, right? Like, do we accept that people can change? Do we not? Etc. My favorite borderless. These are my favorite borderless ones. I really like a lot of the War of the Spark artworks. Did you play to get the foils at all? Which foils are in the events? I'm gonna be honest, it's way too much work for me to keep up. I can't tell you which ones are in which things. Now the full art lands don't really look very good. I much prefer these borderless ones than to, like, the Zendikar full arts here. Thanks, Jesse.
Well, that's rude.
So that makes things a little bit medium. I think I'm just supposed to cash my Chandra in for a removal spell here. What do we think of that? I could cash the Chandra in for a shock and shock this and then play Mayhem Devil. I think that's the line I'm happy with. I could have made 2 tokens and not attacked with them. Yeah, that's the better line. I always forget. It's other effects like this always say must attack in them. I appreciate the people pointing that out. I definitely should have just zeroed Chandra and passed. We end up in a similar spot here, but I definitely should have just zeroed Chandra and passed. And people keep saying, for people that keep saying plus Chandra, that threw me off too, because plussing Chandra doesn't do anything. Coil does not kill a Danto. So, the way Lava Coil is worded, that's something that a lot of people get confused on. The way Lava Coil is worded, it says, if it would die, exile it. So it's an if statement. And the way Indestructible works is that, it's never going to die. So the if it would die doesn't come into effect because it's not going to die. Yeah, if it just said exile it, that would work. But something being indestructible prevents it from having that happen. Adanto is definitely one of their better cards against us. The new Lava Coil animation is great. So we have 3 copies of Bontu, and then 2 copies of Nixilis Cruelty in our deck right now that can take care of this. If you're not someone with a rigid programming brain or very mathematical sense, I can definitely see that being confusing. But from a flowchart perspective, it makes a lot of sense. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and block this turn. Generally speaking, you want to block the turn before you're obligated to. The good news is this Firebrand. Oh, you know what? I should have played this land out, because if we draw Trader Gator, I'm gonna wish I had played it. So this does 8 damage to them at least. Because they pay 4 and then they have to pay 4 again. So if we draw Trader Gator, they're going to be pretty close to death here. Or Cruelty. So they got 5 outs and 46 cards here currently. Okie doke. Not guaranteed to win, but that was step 1 and not losing. Opponent's hopefully flooding a little bit here. Okie doke. Just keeping the board clear here. Let's go. Let's go. Do 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 do. Top deck hero. Bum 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 ba dum bum. Listen, for those of you taking notes at home and want to get to top 100 on the ladder, I would recommend being lucky and then not being unlucky. Those would be my 2 recommendations. Can you say that slower so I can write it down? No, you're gonna have to go back and watch the replay. Gonna have to go back and watch the replay for that one. How are we doing, folks? Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for dropping in here today. If you're a new viewer, my name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream Magic and other strategy games here full-time on Twitch. I'm here usually for 30, 40, 50... lots of hours a week. If you enjoy constructed Magic, this is definitely the channel for you. We play a ton of different decks, and we change decks every 60 minutes to 2 hours, so always get a lot of variety every day. As always, love to give a shout out to my wonderful subs. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their support, so thanks to all of them for keeping me employed. I'd also like to plug a couple of my sponsors here really quick. The Nerd Rage Gaming Championship Series, a $5,000 cash tournament series that happens every single month on the Midwestern United States. If you can't make it out to the Midwest to play in one of their standard, modern, or legacy tournaments, be sure to check out their streaming coverage as well at twitch.tv/NRG series. BCW Supplies, the only ones I trust to protect my paper Magic the Gathering cards. Hey, Acid Tom, thanks for that brand new Prime support. Welcome. Happy Monday. If you head on over to bcwsupplies.com, you can save 10% on all of your orders there by using code Jeff10. They do sleeves, binders, deck box, and all sorts of other fantastic gaming accessories there with them. Cardsphere.com will love to help you turn your cards into other cards direct with other players. There's no haggling, and they just take 1% fee off the top. And of course,
don't make your life garbage time. Join us in Hoaglandia today by subscribing to Jeff Hoagland with Twitch Prime today.
Let's dive on into our next match here at the Black Red Aristocrats deck. That was just our first one, so you got another hour or so with this before we roll on along. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Brendozer. How did you get that clip? So there's a website called Fiverr where people sell various types of custom content that you can pay for. And that gentleman was offering to create commercials of a certain length for a certain amount of money. This hand's sweet. Needs to draw some lands, but very reasonable otherwise. When Tempo Storm departs as a sponsor, does that mean the ad goes away? Yeah, their little ad square will disappear. So I haven't mentioned this. I've been trying to mention this a couple times today. This will be my last month with Tempo Storm. They've been great to work with, but unfortunately the contract's just not going to work out for the both of us anymore. So we are going our separate ways. So in terms of my day-to-day on stream, not a whole lot is going to change. Still be here doing what I do. There'll just be some branding changes, such as the ticker on stream and stuff like that. Said, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Can you explain why spells that give -star kill Vanguard even if they are indestructible, because -X technically reduces their health total to 0, whereas damage being marked on an indestructible creature does not reduce its toughness. It appears that way on the Arena client, but that's because the Arena client is relaying to you its current remaining toughness, not its current actual toughness. So even though this can't, this is a good example of why we board this card out in this matchup. Even though this can't attack, I think I just want to be resource efficient and play it out here. Yes, so the rules for indestructible state that destroy effects do not kill this card, and when damage would reduce its toughness to 0, it does not die. Those are the two things that indestructible mean.
I have not survived millennia to stand down now.
Yeah, no worries, Danon. Really? We're just cashing the Sorin in to cheat this into play? That seems aggressive, huh? This is gonna let me kill the Sorin with the Firebrand? Yeah, the -X not being damaged is very key. So, Mayhem Devil is quite excellent with Fanatical Firebrand here. So this Firebrand's gonna get to do 2 damage to 2 different things here. So we'll deal 1 to Sorin, and then we'll send 1 here, which might turn into 4 damage to them, which is sweet. So, the big reason to move away from Gutter Bones was actually because we added Chandra. So, Gutter Bones had always been kind of awkward and mana intensive in this deck, but we needed a sustained source of recurring bodies to activate the Priest with. So basically, when we gained Chandra as a sustained source of putting things into play over and over again, the importance of the other became less important. The importance of Glitter Bones generating those bodies became less important. Would love to draw a 2 or 3 drop here so we can play Grim Innate. Lightning Strike is not bad. So we're going to drop this. This Lightning Strike plus Mayhem Devil might actually let us deal lethal next turn. Especially if they try and protect this Vanguard. Steven JP, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Looking to fade Sanctum Seeker here, because that would gain them life. Sorin, also not great for us. Thanks for the Prime, JP. Happy Monday. Also, for my regulars too, normally I'm here Monday through Friday. This weekend is Gen Con in Indianapolis, which is something my wife and I go to every year. So I will not be here Wednesday afternoon or Thursday or Friday. Or not. Yep. Tough beat. If I double block here, the trigger from this kills this, Lightning Strike kills this, I take 9, I go to 4, and then I have a token and a Bontu next turn. So I think that's the line. Hey, Elusive, thanks for the 8 months. What do I think of the Simic Flash deck? I think the Simic Flash deck is kind of underpowered on average, and I think adding black to it to make it Sultai makes a lot of sense. And we're dead, right? Yeah, I needed them to not have another follow-up lethal threat. Or not have another threat at all, right? Because if I would have been able to like do this, play Bontu, we'd have been able to like go chump, eat, and then take like 2. And then maybe we stabilize off the cards we draw, but now we can only block 2 things and we take lethal from these other 2. Hey, Ashworld, thank you for re-upping your Prime support. Welcome back. I'm surprised to see you're playing this deck again is because it has a good Scapeshift matchup. So, for those that are newer to my content and not familiar with how things work around here, pretty much everything that I play on stream is viewer submitted deck list. So what I'm playing and how often I'm playing it in general should not be taken as Jeff likes these things or dislikes these things. This was in paper with the triggers on your creatures go off before damage, so you only take 4. No, Magic Arena emulates paper just the same. So the way the triggers and the stack work on Magic Arena is identical to paper. Why not strike and then first strike damage to take out the 4/4? Because their 2/3s are going to grow every single turn, and they can pump mana into them. So in the long term, if I'm going to win that game in the long term, like fade a draw step or 2 from them, like they don't have that last threat in their hand, for instance, I'm going to need to deal with those vampires to win the game in the long term. Bob got a bonus, and he loves this deck as much as I do. Basically, this stream works exactly like the American democratic system. Everybody gets a vote, and then at the end of the day, whoever spent the most money chooses what happens. I don't think it's worth shocking that, especially since I have a Priest of the Forgotten Gods in hand that just blocks it. Aren't we missing the gerrymandering, though? My other favorite description of this channel is it's a dictatorship and I'm the dick. You know, you can describe Hoaglandia in a variety of fun ways, really. Honesty is important here. You'll always find transparency with what we do and why we do it. Oh, I actually didn't notice our opponents currently rank 8 playing vampires. They're probably actually tryharding. We're just at rank 38 by like a happy accident. Even drawing lands is pretty good here at this point, because we have this Bontu in our hand. The deck queue is clearly democracy. The top 40% of decks played are sponsored by 1% of the viewers. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, we just played a bunch of good decks in a row, Jin. We're not by any means putting forth effort, but I'm just gonna take the one here. See what we draw. Losing our devil feels a little bit bad because it means this Bontu's a little less good, but if we draw the land, we're still going to draw 3 with Bontu probably. Why not attack there? Because I wanted to block. There's no guarantee that my opponent has a removal spell, and I don't think dealing 2 damage to my opponent is worth me taking 2 damage on the backswing. You like the mono black deck? Nice. Glad you're enjoying it. So we're gonna block here. We're gonna shoot this. If the rest of their hand isn't amazing, this Bontu could still potentially take over the game. Alright, you know? Yeah, it's funny, Bob. Christy and I were talking to our the guy that manages our IRA accounts, and he's like, do you guys have like a budget? And I was like, we don't really have that many expenses. He's like, well, what do you spend on takeout? And Christian's like, I don't want to know the answer to that. I think that's the death knell, unfortunately. Missing the land for this, and then they're going to get a full turn with this one, so we're going to hit 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 next turn. Just a little bit too far gone. So the sample size of 75, my win rate with Feather is 75% on the play and 42% on the draw. Yeah, standard. So we've actually talked about this before. We talked about this before on stream. I was really excited when they experimented with the London Mulligan, and I really hope the next area of innovation and trying things we see from Wizards is trying to balance being on the draw better. Being on the play is a huge advantage in every format of Magic, essentially, and I would really like to see them implement some type of additional bonus rather than just a card for being on the draw. So someone asked me what would my suggestion be. So I think a very elegant way you could balance being on the draw is I would like the person on the draw to just start with 8 cards in their hand. They don't draw an extra card in the first turn, but basically they get to make their mulliganing decisions with extra information. So you mulligan 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, etc. I think things like a treasure or a coin just trying to copy and paste Hearthstone, I think that's lazy, and I'd rather see some actual innovation rather than just lazily copying the competition. The problem with things like just giving it a higher health total is giving a higher health total is worth a lot more in certain matchups than others. Hey, Machu X, thank you very much for the sub gifties. Hope you are having a wonderful Monday wherever you're at. Thanks for keeping me around.
Chandra, you need more control. Just let me burn. Go get him, buddy.
Just let me burn. Yeah, you give them a free scry before their draw step. There's a lot of little things they could do. And like I said, it's not even guaranteed that they would get balancing it right on the first try. Like maybe it's too good or maybe it's not good enough still. But again, you have to, if you're not failing, you're not innovating enough. And I would love to see them just take some type of risk to experiment and try. Okay. So we get to do this, and then if they don't attack our hand next turn, we get to make 2 tokens, play a land, bond 2, sack the token, sack some lands, draw some cards, and maybe be okay here. By that line, WotC must be crushing the competition with competitive play. Oh, it's so close to home it hurts. It's too close to home. That was too close to home. Alright. I think I want a Bontu rather than Mayhem Devil here. I think I'm only sacking 2 lands at this point. A lot of these Esper decks don't have counterspells in their main end yet. Because they're pretty likely to kill this Bontu. So I'd like to be able to recast it when I draw it. Yeah, if they have counter magic, it's just Dovin's Veto. So I'm definitely not playing around counter magic other than Dovin's Veto in game 1.
Show remorse. I'll show restraint.
Bontu getting bounced is another reason not to be too aggressive with sacrificing my lands. You a fan of board games? Is there anything you're looking to pick up at Gen Con? Christy and I just spend a lot of time wandering the exhibit hall, so I don't really have anything planned in advance. Christy's bigger into the board games than I am, so like while I'm playing like the Warhammer TCG thing on Saturday, but other than that, I really don't have any plans for the weekend. So the problem with playing the devil to get around the oath trigger is this: if they cast down my devil, I then don't kill their Teferi, and I'd rather guaranteed kill their Teferi. I think it's important to guaranteed kill the Teferi there. Chandra plus Bontu doing an excellent job grinding our opponent out this game. I think I'm only sacrificing one land this time around. I'm gonna draw 4 again, but I'm only gonna sack 1 land. I'd have to discard if I sack more than this anyways, right? Is this good? If so, why? Please explain. Yeah, new Chandra's been really excellent. She was like the last key card this archetype was missing. She synergizes with so much of our stuff. She also runs down their planeswalkers really elegantly, which is great. They're so cute. We're all about the little details here, Anner. All about the little details. Yeah, she doesn't get Kaya's Wrath, and she doesn't get Cry of the Canarium. This card gives us a lot of insulation against Cry, which is nice. We actually haven't played the Esper matchup too much with this deck, so I'm kind of glad we're playing it now. Get a little bit of a feel for it. Fry sounds great. Tibalt sounds great. Some number of Grasp is probably correct. Some number of Duress is probably correct. I think I trim Grim Innate because it's kind of a low quality card overall. Yeah, so I like Priest. Well, obviously they can kill our stuff. If they have things like they have Bellhaunt and they have what's I'm searching for? They have Bellhaunt and they have Bellhaunt and they have Lyra post board sometimes, so having ways to kill those is important. Although I guess I have Noxious Grasp and Fry. They have Guard Mage sometimes too. Do I want all 5 of these? Is this too many of these? It's probably not, right? Like killing their Teferi is pretty important. Duress is awesome because we can flashback Duress with Chandra as well. Yeah, let's do. Yeah, I'm gonna swap this for the Grim. Just leave my curve a little lower. This kills Hostage Taker, which is nice. Actually, it might be that Hostage Taker is good enough against our deck that maybe I want to flip the Fry Noxious Grasp split. Anner's got the big crowd. Anner's got the big crowd. He's been around the block. Hey, Pathfinder, thanks for dropping that off for 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Yeah, I think this hand's fine. You're, like, not super excited about it. Like, ideally, you'd like a 1-drop, but post-board, we have fewer 1-drops in our deck, and you don't make your hand better by mulliganing against these decks with Thought Erasure in them. Anner, you've cheered enough bits here to, like, last several lifetimes over. So, you're great. Duress isn't that good against us. I get to just jam this Dreadhorde Butcher down their throat here. We put the fear of Chandra in them, though. The fact that they decided to bring in Duress against us feels pretty good. Hitting a land drop here is great. Even if they have Teferi to bounce my Dreadhorde here, Dreadhorde has haste. It's going to come back down and kill the Teferi. If they Oathakaya here, they only gain 1, which is nice since we deal 2 back to them. Hey, thanks for the 16 months, Hangman. Welcome back. Deal. Wouldn't be surprised to see Bontu go away. Yeah, I need to put a leaderboard up, Bob. Yeah, you're probably somewhere between like 3 and 7. I think there's 4 or maybe 5 people that have hit the 250 box. Because Scooter has 500. Marty's a very clear first. My next button is gone? Why is my next button gone? If I auto pass, it skips my attacks. Alright, let me try and cast this. Does that get it back? Nope. Alright. You know, these people are great. Buy their stuff. These people are all so great. Buy their stuff. Every single update, Arena gets slightly closer to Magic Online. Restarting did it. Alright, here we are. I probably shouldn't have played this because of Kaya's Wrath. But they've also played 3 tapped lands in a row, so hopefully they don't have the land for Kaya's Wrath. The MTGA is officially still in beta. I spent a cool $1,800 on beta software. All right, what you got? I guess we take the cry. Small indie company, yep. And like, I feel like we're a little bit behind from this current position, but again, my opponent doesn't currently have a sustained source of... That puts us extra far behind. Really want to draw a Chandra here. If we draw a Chandra, we can flash back Duress and take this Narset. Yep. Hey, and yeah, thanks for the biddies. So really want to draw a Chandra still so we can haste down this Narset. That would be ideal. Well, we have that one covered at least with this. That is a good draw because it allows us to deny them drawing a card with this, which is nice. Towards Urza combo, definitely. How much do I need to cheer for it to be tomorrow? I don't know offhand.
Hold that thought.
Nobody else has bumped anything in Moto tomorrow. So wherever it's currently at, plus whatever you added there. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill the Narset here, even though it gives them 2 life. Because unlocking my ability to draw a card to the top deck Bontu is valuable here. Dreadhorde Butcher getting up to a 3/3 is really valuable against a deck that's playing Cry, so that's good for us. Obviously, Kaya's Wrath here sucks, but we're not just out of it at that point. Yep.
I train every day.
Even if they find a piece of spot removal, so long as it doesn't exile, Dreadhorde Butcher is going to kill Narset, so they only get to draw 1 card. Yep. Okay, so they have 1 card in their hand versus the top of our deck, so as always in situations like this, Bontu's our best possible draw. Gonna go ahead and make the point to play all of our lands out, so that way if we draw Bontu, we have the most mana after it resolves. Also, doesn't get discarded by Bellhaunt now, so that's nice. No blocks. I mean, Bontu's pretty close to, like, frenzy levels of good at this point, Bob. Like, off the top of our deck here. Like, what? Bontu's probably gonna draw, like, 5 cards? 6 cards, maybe? I have had Dreadhorde Butcher get bedecked before. It's really funny. No blocks. Go to 8. Alright, and then I think to give us ourselves as Bontu for out, I think we're supposed to, block these here. So I want to leave myself dead to Oath if I can avoid it. I think I do this, and then I kill this one. I mean, my opponent's flooding a little bit too. We just haven't found a second Bontu in 20 cards, which, you know, isn't that uncommon, really. Chandra's a decent draw here too once we trade off, because Chandra lets us flashback Fry and kill this Bellhaunt, which is nice. Got a lot of good ones here at this point. I wonder if they're playing Veto against us. Brutal. We don't actually have that many non-creature spells. It's a little rough. Yes, yeah, we're up a game and we're on the draw this game, so, like, you know. Yeah, they have Duress and Veto in their deck, so they're really afraid of our non-creature cards. Why wouldn't they do this first? Doing this second seems so weird. I think that's probably the end of it. Yeah, we can't really... I mean, I could technically attack Narset. No, that doesn't work because then Teferi tucks the Firebrand, right? It's a pretty good game for us being on behind the entire time. Yeah, maybe if the top of the deck is exactly Bontu. Oh, yeah, Narset. No, because I can kill Narset with Firebrand, right? I can kill Narset with Firebrand. That's lethal because they tuck one and then they bounce the other. It's a pretty good game considering we were behind for most of it. I think I'm happy with how we sideboarded. Let's run it back. Their early thought erasure, picking off our Bontu was very good. Yeah, I was at 6. I was thinking, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's take that next one on the play. this is... If this hand had double red, it's an easy snap off. As is, this is kind of an awkward keep. I'm gonna Duress on 1 because they boarded in Duress against me. So, if they didn't see Duress last game, I would lead on Firebrand here. But in the event they have a Duress, I want to make sure it misses. If at all possible. Yeah, I'd be happy to sign whatever you want to send to my P.O. box within a reasonable number. So a dozen things, 20 lands is fine. If you mail me 1,000 things to my P.O. box, probably not signing it without an additional donation. But normally I sign things and return them so long as you send money to get them back to you. Alright, there's a red source. Would really like to draw a Chandra here so we can play her and flashback Duress. Yeah, Elder Spell is a pretty low-cost card for them to leave into their deck, because they frequently have 3-mana Tefris and Narsets lying around, and Elder Spell can boost their, what's it called? Their big Tefri up to a surprise ultimate. I'm going to move to combat here and see if I can get them to use a removal spell before I Duress them. Hey, Sojourner, thank you for the half a year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm going to play the Swamp out of my hand here, because this way, even if they hit like a, Bell Hunt, I can just Noxious Grasp it in response. So they're going to get to veto this Duress, I assume. Grasp is a pretty okay last card for us to have, because it deals with, like, a big Tefri as a sustained source of card advantage. Whole Clean, thank you for the Prime support. I appreciate that. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for sending that my way this month. What deck do I think would be really good if Little Tefri was banned? I don't know. Flash deck probably gets better. I think it's probably easier to predict specific cards that get better as opposed to entire archetypes, because the whole format as a whole would basically be changing, which makes predicting which archetypes are going to be better hard, because some of those decks that are being replenished by Teferi might have other natural competitors. Like, for example, I think the card Growth Chamber Guardian gets much better if 3-mana Teferi is banned. Just because that's one of those creatures in the game right now that, like, is a 2-mana card that doesn't generate value when it comes into play, which makes it a lot worse. I think you could probably pinpoint specific cards that get a lot better. The tough thing about this Narset sitting in play here is that she takes my best draw currently in Bontu and makes it no longer good. Which feels bad. Their sequencing here with these Narsets have been really weird. That was an excellent draw.
Living in a monastery full of firebrands?
61 weeks, 3 days, 10 hours, 25 minutes, and 46 seconds until he rotates. I don't think we're winning that game regardless. I think even if I make 2 1/1s there, it doesn't really matter. They have the Elder Spell in their hands, they're just gonna kill my Chandra. So for people that are wondering what happened there, one of the many things in the format that Teferi is good against is Chandra's downtick, because the way the timing on that works, you're technically casting the spell while there's an ability on the stack, and her ability lets you get around that timing restriction, but Teferi static text says that timing restriction can't be ignored anymore. Yeah, and Wizards again, it feels like they've failed in a lot of instances in this format. Like, they could have very easily have templated Chandra to say, until end of turn, you may cast this card for its casting cost, and then Chandra doesn't just incidentally get hosed by that. It just feels like there's so many of these little things where things are getting incidentally hosed by Teferi. How did your AC go? It was a little bit rough, Anner. I think that's one of the decks that kind of got much worse with the printing of Modern Horizons. I don't think I've played against Jund Dinos with this deck before, so I'm interested to see how this goes. Offering the trade here on Dreadhorde Butcher for their 1/2, and I think that's fine. Dreadhorde Butcher is a card that's much worse on the draw than the play for reasons like this. Yeah, Force of Vigor and Force of Negation are the two playable force cards. They're both very good against JAC. They've been to Ceradon. That's terrifying. Ceratops. This feels tough. Game 1 when we don't have real removal and we just have damage-based removal. Yeah, the knight gets death touch, but they've got two big things here, chat. Well, let's try it. Maybe the rest of their hand is bad. We're gonna get like 2 for 1 tier, but like this took 2 cards away from them, so maybe there's a shot. Take 12? No, we're gonna block.
You call it anarchy. For me, it's just business as usual.
Yeah, I don't think the problem here is until we get our Noxious Grasp in post board, we just don't have a clean answer to this, right? And because we don't have a clean answer and they're at 17, like even Priest here isn't good enough because they have a Domri sitting in board that just kills it. So we get to board in some Cruelties and some Noxious Grasp. We get to cut these Masks and these Lightning Strikes. That seems relatively clean. As a friendly reminder for folks, Fry only does damage to white and blue creatures, so we're not going to board that one in for that reason. I don't think they have enough things that Lava Coil. Yeah, we started the day by playing Yarok Field. That deck's a lot of fun. Always have good runs with that, it seems. Of course, go read. I like Strike over Shock since it can hit the 2-mana Raptor. That's a good call. That's a good call. Less mana efficient, but actually kills some more things. I guess it does Ceratops as an X4. So maybe Ceratops is a card that we would prefer, or Lava Coil is a card that we prefer over Shock. When you have trouble falling asleep, do you count the seconds until Teferi rotates? Alright, on the play here with an aggressive start and a Noxious Grasp, we could probably run them down. If they have a 2-3 here, we're going to be a little bit sad. Nope, just that. Deal. And the Firebrands here is actually a pretty good pickup as well, because it means I get to hit them for 4 and power up my Knight this turn. All the 1/1 counters are belong to us. Oh, I probably should have pumped that, huh? Yeah, I would have put them to 6. Yeah, I think I should have pumped that. Yep. Yeah, I think the Yarok deck's a pretty big favorite against the deck's playing Scape Shift. Alright, so we had a runaway in each direction. Let's see how game 3 goes. On the draw, I definitely want some more interaction. How do I feel about just cutting... I'm going to cut the Grim Innates on the draw, actually, and just bring in more removal spells to be more interactive, I think. I like that. I like that. Leaving Summon is fine, so we do need food for the Priest. The spells in this hand are very good, however, the lands leave a bit to be desired. Yeah, this hand's excellent. I think I'm going to ditch Dreadhorde Butcher here. We're a little ways off of Bontu, but Bontu just being a 5/6 is a really good body in this matchup. There's a pretty good chance Dreadhorde Butcher just, like, doesn't get to attack on turn 2. Hopefully they play a Ripjaw here or a Ceradon or something we can Noxious Grasp. Would love to just fully curve out. Returning Dawn. Welcome with the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Hope your Friday is finding you well. Thanks for keeping me around. Again, gonna kill this in response to this trigger. So that way, this doesn't deal damage to it. They don't get to draw a card. I'm just gonna have this kill this.
Chandra, you need more control.
Have a good one, Inner.
These little guys are great.
These little guys are great. Thunk, thunk. So, worst case scenario here is like removal spell plus a dinosaur.
Say hi to my fiery friends.
So, I'd encourage you not to think about cards in specific context just like exactly other cards. Because, like, for instance, oh, am I about to get Collision Colossus? That could be a card they're reasonably holding. Oh, Veil of Summer. Okay, sure. Maybe I sacrificed too many swamps there. Yeah, with Chandra already in play, maybe I'm supposed to go down to 1 red source. There's also more red sources than black sources in my 75. Well, I could have just not sacrificed things, Jack. You're right, I wouldn't have gotten to draw cards then, which would kind of suck, but... Was this a good draw? If so, why? Please explain.
Hey, these little guys are great.
Alright, so people that are confused as to why... For people that are confused as to why my opponent conceded there, was the elementals there, sacrifice at end of turn, which will trigger Mayhem Devils 4 times there, and shoot down their 5/4. Not bad. Alright, let's play one more with the Aristocrats. They're going to slide on along to the Kaikar combo here. Planning on doing at least 3 more decks today, I think. So planning to run late today and tomorrow. If our viewer count stays awesome like it's been all day, we're probably going to do all 4 that are left on the list. Probably just stream until I feel like passing out. Unknown Void, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Hope your Monday is treating you well. The spells are excellent. The double swamp opener again, not so much. It seems like not great, but it's probably in the range of keepable. To be fair, not to like put myself down too much, but like we've been playing a lot of Sultai Yarok and this deck, both of which I think are very good and very competitive. They're 2 of the decks I'm considering for the MCQ next month. So like, while we are high up there, it's not exactly like we've been playing just mono complete memes, right? I'm playing a lot of decks that are very reasonable. Given that you not only stream, but review decks, post stuff, and upload YouTubes, what would you estimate your weekly working hours? My light weeks are usually 40 to 45 hours, and my heavy weeks are usually somewhere between 75 and 90 hours. Which those extreme weeks are like release weeks. When you, like the 2 weeks following a set release, we go ham around here. So if they don't play an elemental this turn, next turn I can play Mayhem Devil and kill both their creatures in play right now, which is nice. That being said, if they play another Reef or an Omnath here, I probably want to shoot their Reef in response. Do the little ones have any interest in Magic? Yeah, they both love playing games. We've actually been playing, there's a game called King Domino, which is a board game we've been playing with the kids recently that they both enjoyed a lot. Alright, so they didn't have an elemental last turn, And I almost, is it crazy to just shoot both elves here? Is it nuts to give them an extra turn with the Reef? I really don't want to get Nissa next turn, right? That's what I'm looking to avoid. So I'm going to kill two of their things here. The question is it elf plus Reef or is it elf-elf? I think it's elf-elf. This, like, makes any Hydroid Crisis that they could have next turn much worse. Yeah. Mayhem Devil, don't fear the Reefer, chat.
Hey, don't start any fires without me. Say hi to my fiery friends.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you want to just ask yourself in situations like this, what are the potential upsides and downsides of the different lines you can take? And the potential downside of not killing the elves is my opponent plays a Nissa, which would be really bad for me, right? But now, because we killed their elves, they might be far enough behind at this point that the Nissa doesn't matter. Like, we might be able to run this Nissa down out of this game. Because, like, for instance, my Chandra makes 2 elementals, which I can equip with the Mask, which we can then use to kill their stomping ground. I'm gonna block here just in case they have a shock. Puppy! Should we go face? Nah, I think I want to kill the 3/3. Like, if I kill... Oh, this is lethal, right? This is a lethal attack? Right? 5, 6, 7. I caught myself before we messed it up. We caught ourselves before we messed it up. How's that? That was some good clean living. Noxious Grasp is great in a matchup like this. Dreadhorde Butcher, aggressively mediocre on the draw against Land War Elf decks. Definitely trimming all of those. If you've never seen this deck before and you think it's awesome, it is. This is one of the many wonderful decks that you can find on my website, magicesports.net. Click standard decks at the top. You'll find lots of really neat, fairly competitive off-meta decks there with deck lists, descriptions of how the deck works, and then videos embedded of your truly playing it so you can see how the deck functions before you invest your own valuable wildcards in it. No, there's an arena MCQ that you have to qualify for. I think I'm just going to put a Lava Coil in here. Let's play Lava Coil as the last card. Tibalt could be an okay last card too. Yeah, let's play Tibalt. Isn't Dreadhorde good since you're likely to trade 2 for 1? Not always. They also have, like, imagine their first play is like Paradise Druid on 2. Imagine they just play the O3 for 2. Yeah, the Sultai Gefnet deck is fine. I think Sultai Gefnet's really bad against, like, the Dreadhorde decks. Specifically Sultai Dreadhorde, but, like, Sultai Dreadhorde isn't super popular anymore. It's not a deck that sees a ton of play. Alright, let's draw some lands, shall we? I would like my first 3 draw steps to be black and red lands. Please, please and thank you. Alright, hit number 1. I'm gonna play a mana dork that doesn't die to shock. Oh, that kind of dies to shock in a roundabout way. Don't fear the reefer, chat. Don't fear the reefer. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. You know, maybe I'm supposed to lightning strike the reefer there because the holding the shock would mean I could Mayhem Devil plus shock on 4, which curves a little bit more elegantly. Yeah, that's probably the case. If they have Nissa here, we're going to be in a bit of trouble unless we rip exactly Noxious Grasp, which we do have 3 copies of, but we would prefer not to have a Nissa barreling down on us this turn. Cavalier Thorn's not that big of a deal. Yeah, see, like, if I'd have kept the shock here, I'd be able to Devil plus shock this, which would be a pretty reasonable sequence. Hoping to draw a black source this turn or next turn. Have a lightning strike. Invictus! They had so many subs! Happy Monday. Welcome to our newest members of Hoaglandia. Remember the gift of speech that Invictus giveth, the gift of speech Invictus can take away. So behave. Enjoy the gift of speech. This has first strike. In addition to enjoying talking in chat, be sure to pop on into the subs Discord as well. New subs. Always great to have new people there. Will do, Invicti. I appreciate it. Alright, well, I mean... We're actually not in that bad of a spot, depending on what... Oh, they topped. Topping there is terrifying. Because, like, this kills Chandra. So, like, we have Bontu to kind of hip check this. I guess because we're probably dead anyways, Brad. Yeah. When they topped, we were dead.
Telling me what to do.
I think on the play, I put the Dreadhorde Butchers back in. Cut the Tibalt and some Grim Innates. That seems fine. Should shock it first to send a message. Let him know what's up, who's the boss. Chandra. So against the straight blue-green ramp decks, I think this deck's a pretty strong favorite. The fact that they're playing Teamer with Chandra as a sweeper changes the dynamic of it a little bit. I think it makes it a good bit harder for what we're doing. The scene's pretty reasonable on the play. If they have exactly Land War Elves on one, my Dreadhorde Butcher gets stopped a little bit, but if they don't have exactly Land War Elves, the Dreadhorde Butcher is going to hopefully get revved up and get to do some stuff here. Play a tapped land. Thank you. Alright, we got 3 removal spells. Hoping to draw, like, Chandra followed by a bunch of lands here, basically. So we can curve out into the old Bontu. Paradise Druid lets them block here, potentially. I'm actually just gonna play this and pass, I think. Nah, let's offer the trade. I should probably offer the trade before playing this. The fact that we don't have any more creatures in hand is really awkward with this priest. Chandra is the absolute best draw on our deck now at this point, not close. I haven't been timed out in like 3 days. I need my fix. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Complementary meditation window. Thank you again, Invictius. In case you weren't here earlier and you don't follow me on Twitter, it's a good note for everybody. I'm running long today and tomorrow, but I'm going to be off Wednesday afternoon, as well as Thursday and Friday this week, because I'll be at Gen Con. Castable creature. Castable creature. That'll do, pig. All right, so we want to draw any land here. Let's just cast Bontu. That's so unfortunate. Yes, I guess they're also stumbling, so it's hard to be too upset here. Chandra. 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 Just gonna go ahead and offer this trade. They're missing land drops. I doubt they want to take it, and if they do take it, I think that's fine. I've got them at a virtual 8 right now with these lightning strikes, so... I mean, they're drawing lots of mana creatures, but they also haven't drawn many lands, so it's like... This is a bloodbath. Reminds me of the good old days. Thanks, In. We did start with Pauper this morning, but the league we played was a little bit rough, if I'm being honest. Would you ever strike them to deal 4? Oh, yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, Mindless Funk. I'm gonna be honest, that's a line that didn't occur to me at the time. But I think you're correct that I should have lightning struck their face. I think that is a good suggestion. It is a $50 donation for Legacy. Yes. It's not that, I know we haven't played it for a little while, we just don't get that many submissions. There's also the asterisk that in general for Legacy, I only accept Brainstorm Ponder Force of Will decks and Ancient Tomb Chalice of the Void decks or Sweet All-In combo decks. Usually the things I'm willing to play have to fall into one of those categories. There's a lot of the things that don't fall into those categories tend to not be super competitive in Legacy. It's been a weird game. Like, both of us have stumbled and fumbled around a little bit. Both have a lot of lands in our hand, or a lot of spells in our hand. Yes, there is a new Lava Coil animation. They added a Cry of the Canarium animation too, which is pretty sweet. Wouldn't be surprised to see another removal spell happen here. They've been lacking red mana for a while. I think I'm just going to go ahead and hold up the priest activation now at this point, so that way I can, like, dome them with it if they Lava Coil me again. You going to play the standard shakeup event? I don't think so. So in my experience, the standard shakeup event, they're dead, right? That Shockland kills them. Because they take 2, 4, and then 7. Easy game, easy life. Legacy Elves is not a deck that I accept. Does not Ponder Brainstorm Force of Will, does not have, what else is that other card? Ancient Tomb and Chalice of the Void. It's not super consistent. Legacy Infect's great. That would be one that would be perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, Black Red Aristocrats. I like this deck a lot. This is the 75 we've been playing. It's the 75 you're gonna find on my website. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't think I'd change anything. I think this was one of the decks. This Naya Feather or Yarok Field would be one of the 3 decks I'd probably roll a die to choose between for the Mythic Championship qualifier on Arena next month. It's one of the 2 decks, but we primarily played to climb into the top 100 on the ladder. Let's move along to some memes, shall we? Let's work our way back down into the percentage points. Nothing is peak Twitch chat more than me describing the 2 types of decks I'll accept for Legacy, and then a bunch of people asking if they can submit decks.